you stay too late, you're no longer good. I was looking up just a couple minutes ago Dame's age. Dame is 32. Which means he's a vet. He's had injury. He's in his 30s. You don't have 10 years with Dame. You have a max of 5. And because he's short, I don't mean like he's short. He's not tall for an NBA.
Yeah, 6'3".
He's listed as 6 feet, but he might be 5'10".
Right. I give him 6 foot. I give him like 6'1".
With shoes or without?
I think he was listed 6'3" with shoes, so he probably like 6'1".
Okay. So let's say he's 6'1". 6
foot even. How about that?
Okay, 6 foot even. Right. 6 feet even without shoes. With shoes, he's like 6'2", right? 6'2.5", 6'3". Still not tall. So you give your defensive liability, and then you're in a league where defense isn't rewarded. Anyway, your runway is 5 years max. Awesome. Welcome back to another episode of the CVMK show. It goes down here because it is what it is. Look, I'm your host, CVMK33, aka Cody himself. But we got an amazing podcast episode. We're covering from ESPN firings to D-Rose to Memphis to Dame, where he's going to Wemby versus Chet to Brandon Miller. I had to bring somebody in special so that we could cover this in depth. I mean, he's a podcast guru in his own right. We're going to talk sports today. We're going to chop it up. I want y'all to welcome Stevo Spez, a.k.a. Steven Simmons. Steve, how you doing today?
Hey, what's good? How you doing?
I'm well, man. I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah, man. I've been excited to get on. It's definitely time to talk some sports. There's a lot of stuff been happening the last few days for sure.
That's for sure, dude. I've been really, keeping an eye on it. Not just sports, but entertainment as a whole. I mean, there's just a lot of movement that we need to cover, we need to understand, we need to unpack. And, I couldn't think of anybody better than Stevo Spez himself. So we're going to get into it, but just a quick word from our sponsors.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
All right, y'all, www.cvmkglobal.store. Get your protein transformed, creatine super thick, BCAA saucy, Warrior Thirst pre-workout, Warrior Thirst superpower pre-workout, MetaMan. Look, it's all there. Just go to www.cvmkglobal.store. Look, we are going to get into it because, oh my God, it's just amazing. Just an amazing time that's going around in the league and entertainment as a whole. And I think it would be amiss for us not to cover certain things because it's worth discussing, and it is what it is on the CVMK show. So without further ado, let's bring up our first topic, being D-Rose, one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorite personnel, favorite athletes. Not obviously my goat is LeBron, but if there is somebody that made me stop wearing Nikes, it is Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, to me, he re-energized the point guard space. 2008, he changed basketball. Like, we're the same age, went to high school, I remember hearing about Pooh. But seeing him in the space, we're in the same high school years. I didn't go to Simeon, but I was here playing in the second conference out here in Sandburg, and then hear about this kid from the inner city in Chicago that was just destroying everybody. Derrick Rose became a local legend. And then he became a national phenom at Memphis. And then he became, to me, a global star those first 3 years of the Chicago Bulls. So he has just been recently signed to Memphis. And since Ja will be serving out his 25-game suspension, we know the first 25 games, Derrick Rose will be the starter. So I put this little video together so people can help understand and remember how cold Derrick Rose not just was, but is. And we're going to get into it. So I'll play this and then we'll break it down.
Shot clock already down to 5. Finally get it up. Derrick Rose straight away looking to triple. Can't it?
Jeff Teague, it's going to be a challenge for Derrick Rose now. One thing I was looking forward to is he takes Rudy Gobert right to the rack. What a finish by D. Rose. Great his body control, the way that he's able to handle the basketball and get to where he wants to. It's the second time Derrick Rose now has taken on Rudy Gobert.
Speaking of body control,
Anthony Towns comes over and helps alter the shot. Minnesota's shot blocking has gotten so much better.
Rose, tough shot,
but he makes the shot anyway.
Rose attacks, challenges Gobert, and Gobert couldn't get there in time.
We could have a whole highlight reel of Derrick Rose attacks to the rim on Rudy Gobert tonight. Belly's playing well for Sacramento.
21 points for Belly last night. Rose playing really well for the Timberwolves in the starting nod here tonight.
Is that perfect, though?
Love the Yankee for cowbell. Love the anchor man as well. Derrick Rose, 124 in that home loss to the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
The Timberwolves offense is rolling. They've got a chance to threaten that here tonight.
This is a lot of wild moments here.
Shot clock down 5.
Oh, my
Rose,
gosh.
who had 19 in the third quarter, has his first points of the fourth quarter. Rose. Derrick Rose has 41. One off of his NBA career high. Rose out of the corner, and it's a new career high for Derrick Rose.
That's crazy. A lot of dribbling.
The stop, the go, the finish. 46 for Rose. Rose gets inside, puts up a tough shot, and hits it anyway. 48. A half a century for Derrick Rose here tonight.
On a game like this, 50 points against a good team.
Crowder, 3, no long rebound tracked down by Rubio. Ingles will fire for 3. That won't drop. Another rebound. Excellent. Blocked in the corner by who else? Derrick, 2011 MVP, Rose.
Jeez. I forgot Jeff Teague was on that team.
Right.
They all know.
Hot.
They
A
know.
lot of people. Wiggins. Man, everybody. Tyler.
Right.
Everybody gone.
Jim, I haven't checked to see what the NBA high is for point total this year, but it's awfully young.
I remember because he dropped 51 and then KD dropped like 55 that next game.
I was like, you just can't let him have his glory. Man.
Acknowledges the crowd, and he has certainly won over some Timberwolves fans here tonight. Let's get over to Liam Fields.
New York. You're very emotional. A huge victory for this team, and it comes from you and your career high 50 points. What does it mean to you, Derrick?
Everything, man. I work my ass off, bro.
Hey, that to me was iconic. But that was what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, going on 4.
Going on 4. And then the next thing we hear, Derrick Rose, he has the amazing playoff performance run with New York.
Actually, that might be
5?
Yeah, it's actually 5 years ago. Yeah.
So, Steve, I'm throwing it to you. Which Derrick Rose is Memphis getting?
Well, clearly you're getting Minnesota, New York, D Rose at best. If you're getting any, of course, you're not gonna get D Rose of the D-Rose we all grew to love. Of course, you're not getting that, but you still getting a point guard that what Ja did, he can still do. He should fit right in the role of the offense that they have. It's almost a perfect fit, to be honest. Like, there's out of all the guards that we paired Ja to, D-Rose one of the closest ones. And like even though the stats might say, like, if you look at the stats of the last year, he only averaged 5.7 points. It's just because he wasn't being played. For the rest of his career, it's been double digits. So you're gonna get that double digit. The mind of D-Rose is completely different now. So his mindset is not always to go out there and kill. It's also is to go out there and get his teammates involved. He become a way better facilitator than he once were, and that just what happens when you go through injuries like that. He's one of those players that have completely changed his game around for the better. I like it. I like it going to Memphis. It's almost a perfect fit. I couldn't ask for any better guard to go over there.
I think you're right. I think you're getting it more cerebral. Derek, he's not the 2008 jumping out the film, twitchy, can go 1-on-5 the whole game, playing at a different level, different speed. He's not that Derek.
Right.
But he is still Derek Marshall. Like, he still has enough in the tank, particularly just to cover 25 game spread and then to play backup and assist and lead as they get deeper into the playoffs. I also think it changed the Bulls. His first tenure, not first, but his only tenure with the Bulls, having a heavy defensive player in Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
Almost similar to Joakim Noah, having some wing defenders and whatnot. So I think it's a style of offense that he's very accustomed to. I guess the question for me is this enough for Memphis, right? Like, does this put Memphis over the top? Can they beat the Lakers? Can they beat Golden State? Can they beat Sacramento? Can they beat Denver? Does this team have enough to go further?
Well, because I've also been asked that question when it comes to this situation with Memphis, but like, to me, I feel like there's so many ways you can look at this situation with Memphis, because we all know, and the stats don't lie behind it, Memphis still wins with Ja not there. Especially, but it's different now because Tyus Jones is gone. He's went to Washington now. But while he was there, like, when Ja was out, it looked no different. They were still winning games. So I believe getting Marcus Smart and D-Rose at the same time will buy you time for Ja to come back to make that fight, because I think when it comes to if they can go all the way to, like you said, to beat the Lakers, the Phoenix, the people like that, I don't think it was never exactly about talent. It was because they're young and they just haven't been there to experience it, and they haven't made it this far. So I think it's all about this signing was really not necessarily for. Like, to be honest, I think the Marcus Smart was more of this will improve our team along with veteran. But I think this signing was, we can start him at Ja's position if we need to. He plays very similar to Ja, and then we can it's really the mentor outside of basketball and with basketball, because with the basketball, D-Rose can sit there and be talking about, hey, bro, you can't do this your whole life. Now, I understand it's different because D-Rose was out here 6'2", freaky, and 200 pounds, and John's 6'3", 175, soaking wet.
Right.
But, yeah, so it's a little bit different. So he might can be a little bit more longevity because of his frame. But I think D-Rose gonna sit him down and be like, hey, bro, I like that you got a little floater game to you, but maybe you should stop jumping so high, planning so hard on that floater, because that's one of the reasons why Derrick Rose got hurt. He realized that some of the moves he was out there doing was just reckless. There was no need to go 100 miles per hour and do the most strongest hop step when there's 1 minute left in the game. Like, it's just stuff like that. And then we all know the outside drama that's going on with Ja.
Right.
D Rose done been in the city. He's been around it. Friends have been around it. Lost friends, brothers, everything around it. Brothers been around it. So, and one thing he was sheltered away from it, but he gonna tell you the truth. Like one thing, Derrick Rose is cool. He's probably not gonna hound job about it, but one thing he gonna keep it real. He gonna tell him the truth. So, hey, don't D Rose will happily take your ACL. So get it together. Like for
Just
real.
one good ACL to get, bro. I would love, and this is me secretly. You know, I'm a huge LeBron fan, but if there's any player that I want to get a ring above
It's
all
Derrick, bro.
others, is Derrick Rose. I would love for Derrick to have the comeback season that makes you question why they want to start Ja. Right? Like, or like to be that cold that places the organization in a pickle. Like, oh, do we really want to do this? Do we, you know? So I definitely believe in that. I think, as you mentioned, it definitely is more of a mentor role. I think Derrick's story will resonate with Ja, and my hope and prayers that Ja listens. But does this change the standings in the West? The future of the West, to me, is set. Lakers re-signed everybody. And
more.
Yeah. Right? Golden State re-signed Draymond. Denver, they lost Bruce Brown, which is huge. But I don't know if that loss is so detrimental that it dethrones them. So the first three spots are pretty much solidified. Does Memphis go up or down in the standings this year?
If all things go right, they might stay exactly where they are. But that's being objective. So I could see them sliding 1 to 2 spots. It's definitely possible because like I'm not the biggest believer of Phoenix, but Phoenix can definitely make some noise. Dallas made a lot of good moves in the free agency and in the draft, so they're not exactly the same team. I'm kind of excited to see how they will be. So Dallas, you got to watch out for Dallas as well. New Orleans is another one. So New Orleans is a team you got to pay attention to. So it would be wrong for me to say that I could see them just staying there because it's just too many. Like we all know, the West is super stacked, and there's a lot of young up and coming teams that I haven't even mentioned yet.
True. There's a lot of up-and-coming teams. I think Sacramento. I
didn't even think about that. God, dog.
Dallas, depending on how Kyrie responds, if he resigns. There's a lot of just up and downness in the West as a whole right now. Let's jump to ESPN is restructuring, right? There's a lot of layoffs happening. So I read this, and I want to bring this up. ESPN CEO states that the revenue over the last year has fallen 7%, and he plans to cut $5.5 billion in their budget by eliminating 7,000 jobs, which equates to 4% of the workforce. Some of their most notable let-goes: on-air talent Max Kellerman, on-air talent Jay Williams, on-air talent Vince Carter, on-air talent Keyshawn Johnson, on-air talent Jeff Van Gundy, and a few others, right? And I think this is something that is happening across the board. There's just a lot of moving and shaking. Stephen A. Smith brought this up. I want to play this, and then Steve, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
ESPN just the other day laid off about 20 members of its on-air talent. I titled this "Change Happened, More to Come," because, as you all know, I work at ESPN. My day job is First Take, NBA Countdown to NBA Stephen A's World, all of that stuff, but mainly First Take. And there are a lot of people who got laid off. Friends of mine, actually. Definitely respected colleagues who've done a phenomenal job and deserved better. But it's not Disney or ESPN that they deserve better from. They deserve better from than the times we're living in. A lot of people don't want to see that, and they don't want to appreciate that. But those are people rife with emotion, some justifiably, obviously, but are not paying enough attention to the dollars. Right here on this podcast, when Disney announced that 7,000 layoffs were coming, everybody associated with ESPN knew this day would arrive. Folks as individuals were hoping it just wasn't them. To see Jalen Rose gone, my brother, done an outstanding job for us covering the NBA for years. Got a lot of love for that brother. A lot of the great work he's done over the years, what he's represented for the company. I'm going to miss him. Jalen Rose has always been good to me. And I loved working with him on NBA Countdown. He is a brilliant, brilliant basketball mind. He is somebody that worked his ass off all the time. There was never an assignment he backed away from. There was never a time he didn't want to work. And my heart goes out to him for being one of these cuts after his exceptional run at ESPN. Jeff Van Gundy's another. You don't get labeled as a part of the A-team unless you're an A-teamer. That was Jeff Van Gundy, former head coach of the New York Knicks, former head coach of the Houston Rockets, outstanding, brilliant basketball analyst for ESPN for years. I could say I'm going to miss him, but I just can't imagine he's going to be out of work for long. I'm sure I'll see him on the air doing his thing.
Right.
Him and Mark Jackson with Mike Breen, without question, the A-team. Guys that I was proud to call colleagues, and still am and always will be. Mike Breen, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do what he's done as a play-by-play guy. As far as I'm concerned, Jeff Van Gundy's been a Hall of Fame analyst and commentator. I believe Mark Jackson to be the same. But we're going to have to sit up here, along with very many others. Okay, Neil Everett from SportsCenter, Ashley Brewer from SportsCenter, you know, my brother Keyshawn Johnson.
Neil Everett got let go?
Yeah.
Now, I know him on a far more personal level than I know many others. We've been friends for over 20 years. I'm sad to see him go.
Jeez.
I think he'll be fine. Keyshawn Johnson is a businessman extraordinaire. He knows how to make money, knows how to get money, and he is not fazed. He is fine. I spoke to him over the weekend. He's fine. But I personally am going to miss him because of his contribution to First Take. What he has done for me, what he's done for my life, just being a big brother and a friend of me. I love him to death. And I know he's going to be fine. There's various others, and I don't want to mention everybody because I don't want to forget anybody's name. But those names certainly come to mind. I'm even going to mention Max Kellerman. I know y'all.
Said I'm even going to mention that.
I am not happy that he is gone. We all know what history we had. We all know what happened with he and I parting ways on First Take. I don't want the brother unemployed. I want him gainfully employed. I want him having a job and a career. And that brother knows his boxing inside as out, as smart as a whip, and has been around a long time. I wish him no ill will. And a matter of fact, although I sincerely doubt he ever will, if he ever called me needing my help, I would not hesitate to help him. Just because I don't want to work with you directly in a debate show doesn't mean I didn't want to work with you. Doesn't mean I couldn't have worked with him covering a boxing match. Doesn't mean I couldn't have worked with him covering a UFC match. Doesn't mean I could have worked with him doing SportsCenter, a SportsCenter segment, or somebody else. I'm just talking about a 2-hour debate show. I wanted a different partner. That's all. I wish the brother nothing but the best.
Yeah, what it is.
Right. It is what it is. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
This ain't the end. More is coming. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I could be next. Let me tell y'all something.
He closed the laptop.
Right.
Don't ever in your life as a black person take anything for granted.
Hello.
I told you before, when white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. The Neil Everett's are gone, the Jeff Van Gundy's are gone, the David Pollack, outstanding college football analyst, love him. He was one of the casualties. Todd McShay, college football analyst extraordinaire, especially for the NFL draft. He's part of the casualties.
I did not know that.
You didn't think black folks was going to be on the list too? That's always the case. And the one thing that I can tell you about Stephen A., this ain't 2009. I really didn't see it coming. My eyes are always wide open now. I'm never comfortable. I never take anything for granted, and I never assume that I'm safe. And First Take's number one, and been number one for 11 and a half plus years. Let me address something some of the haters out there about me. Y'all can kiss my ass. Twice. He said twice.
Hey.
I'm talking about the people. I'm talking directly to the people.
Oh man.
Hey, Stephen
Who
A.
sat up there and said, why isn't Stephen A. gone? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a few people at ESPN getting paid more than me.
That's crazy.
They don't have the number one show. They don't have the top ratings. They don't generate more revenue. How come y'all didn't bring their names up? And by the way, none of them are black. How come you didn't bring their names up?
Oh, wow.
I wonder why. I'm talking to those folks, the critics in the media. Or the wannabe medias with the blogosphere and the websites that never went through the terrain of being official members of the fourth estate.
All right, let's break this down. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, I seen it coming.
Right.
And even with like Stephen A. himself, I seen him preparing just in case, because if you paid attention, a lot of those people like Skip and all that, they're getting their social media stuff together fast.
Yeah.
This Stephen A.'s podcast came out of nowhere. Skip podcast came out of nowhere. Shannon.
Yeah.
A lot of these dudes are getting podcasts because they understanding where the world is going. TV is slowly getting drawn out. Nobody's watching TV no more.
That's true.
So, I knew cuts happen with every company. I did from sports to the media room to Wall Street. The cuts happen. Now, I was not one of those people saying, "Hey, why Stephen A. here?" Because I understand the greatness of Stephen A.
Yes.
I don't. Let me not say I don't understand why people don't dislike him, because some people just don't like his personality, which is understandable. But for people out there that saying he ain't talented, he ain't good at what he's doing, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. You don't know. You just don't know how to get into podcasting and try to do some analytical stuff. You realize how good Stephen A. is, but it's just I was definitely one of those people. Like, there's a lot of people on ESPN right now that's still there, and I was like, they made the cut. Like, y'all, this layoff was probably going to go down as one of the biggest layoffs in ESPN's history, and they didn't have some pretty big layoffs. I remember a couple years ago, I forget who was this, but it was a lot of main contributors on there that moved on to FS1, and a lot of people done it. But
it's true.
It just to make it a whole thing, it's just reminding me that ESPN as a whole is just dying. It's just dying. It's not the same. And to be honest, if you want to be real, First Take is the only thing that's keeping it afloat.
Yeah, that's true.
And next to it, the only thing besides First Take that I would personally watch was I watched the morning show with Jay, Max, and Keyshawn. That was entertaining.
Yeah.
I would get up every 5 o'clock. That was my show. And Jeff Van Gundy was probably one of the people that I can listen to for a whole game.
Yeah.
People know I can't. I love Reggie Miller, but I hate when he calls the game.
He's boring. He's a little boring.
And he a nerd, but that's another thing. But yeah, it's just I seen it coming. I feel like ESPN is dying, and it just to me, you're just gonna see a lot of people break out into their own mode in a social media game.
You know, you brought up some great points. I do think ESPN is dying. It's weird to watch a giant die. Because if we go back 20 years ago, there was nothing bigger than ESPN when it came to sports. It was the show. You know, every other network had like WGN and we had Jim Rose, but you were basically second tier, right? Like in the days of Stuart Scott, Neil Everett, Dan Patrick, Chris Berman, you know, there was nothing bigger. I mean, I remember when First Take was Cold Pizza, right? And you had Woody Page and Skip, and you know, that was the epitome. That was the climax, the pinnacle of the sports broadcasting.
Yep.
And now you're right. People, I mean, first of all, cable is super expensive.
Very.
Xfinity lowered these bills. And you're right. Nobody really watches TV. I mean, people watch highlights. People stream on their phone. People watch podcasts, short form content, subscription content. But as far as like, you know, like, oh, my show comes on at 7, nobody does it.
That's not happening.
You're right. It's not happening. That's not happening. So it was bound to happen. I personally think, and I agree with Stephen A., nobody at ESPN, as far as an on-air talent, should be making more than Stephen A. Smith. No offense to them, and I'll never get into people's pockets, but
it's the reality, though.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else is. I mean, JJ Redd. I mean, like, who are these people? You know,
that's what I want to know. Who are they? Who is it? Like, cause like I and don't get me wrong, I love JJ. There's definitely a place at ESPN for JJ.
Right.
But Stephen A. he's literally the face. He's literally the face of ESPN. You don't, when ESPN pops in your head, Stephen A. is a close second right behind.
Hello.
So yeah, to hear him say that I'm not the only one. I'm not even. There's people above me paying. Who?
And I feel like with Stephen A., if Stephen A. wanted to, you know, like if he wanted to rock the boat, Stephen A. could go right over to Fox and be on FS1, since they don't have a show right now, and be on Undisputed, and we'd have First Take all over, like him and Skip. Like Stephen A. carries a lot of influence. That's not a piece you want to move, right? So definitely is dying. It is weird to see all those personalities let go. I even like Max Kellerman, but
I do too.
You know, I didn't think Max was the fit.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah, Skip, but I thought the morning drive, Keyshawn, J, and Will was good. There's a lot of other segments you could have put, you know, Max.
Yeah, Max is that's the thing about you. Max is not the brain to argue and debate. Max is he's the one that he's the brainiac. He will bring out a stat that you didn't ever think about. He's the type to like he remembers a lot of things in history as well. Like he's one of those people. Like he's like that. Him being the host was almost perfect because he. One thing I learned, I noticed about him, and me learning my whole thing. Hosting ain't easy. He fell into it very easy with great ease.
No, he did, and you're right. Hosting is definitely not easy. Hosting is exhausting. You got to learn. You have to rehearse. You need to have a flow. It's not out here just shooting from the hip. You know, it's not barbershop talk. And I think a lot of times people start podcasts or whatever, and it becomes barbershop, and there's no strategy and science. They didn't take the time to do the research. They're not clipping out articles like we see right here, implementing video, have absolute subject matter content to cover. It's just like, oh, that man trash. You know, so Max Kellerman to me is a premier talent. I can see Max honestly on CNN.
Yeah.
Max Kellerman reminds me of Keith Olbermann. Like that news kind of hippie-ish, you know, like Max definitely fits that mold. Yeah. I'm sure these individuals won't stay unemployed for long, but they're definitely restructuring and it's coming.
Like even to see Jalen Rose, it was like, man, like good God, like y'all just letting y'all letting anybody go at this point because like like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and wish for nobody job to be taken, but there is definitely a lot of people in key roles that are completely trash at their job right now, and hey.
And Jalen's not one of them.
And Jalen's definitely not one of them.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I could say 20 of them, a good 20 of them did not deserve to get fired.
Yeah, I say that. Jeff Van Gundy's not one of them. But when Jalen Rose, I'm like, and I'm not trying to get people fired, but there's a few other names I'd throw in before
I'm really not trying to do it, bro. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm trying to be nice.
There's a few other names.
I'm trying to be nice.
Like, bro, you could be gone. I take Jalen over you any day. Like Jalen Rose, all the smoke. Call Jalen Rose. Get him on. Get him on Showtime.
That man, Showtime is gonna be one of those people because they're attracting a lot of people in that realm, and they're building a nice crew over there.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Showtime, holla at me. They built a nice little crew.
I still want to talk the ticket.
I know, KG,
the greatest storyteller in NBA history.
Oh yeah, it's big.
Argue with whoever you want to.
That's true. That's true. Let's jump to this segment. When will it be Dame time? Dame requested a trade. He says his priority is Miami. Is this just publicity stunt? Like, Steve, when will it be Dame time?
See, because I just like a couple days ago, I did a video on it because I was sitting here like, you might have waited a little too long. You might have waited a little too long because he made the announcement drop day 2 of the free agency.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, especially with Miami Heat, we hear constant reports of him saying, "I want to be in Miami." Miami made a lot of moves. Well, let me not say they made a lot of moves. They lost half their team to free agency. They lost Matt Strus. They lost Gabe Vincent. And those two is probably going to be 2 of the most major pieces to go into this Dame trade. So now Portland looking back like, all you really much have to offer me is Tyler Hero, and y'all wasn't trying to give up Tyler Hero to begin with. So, to be honest, Dame might end up somewhere he don't want to be at because he decided to wait so long because he didn't see the writer on the wall. We've been telling you for years to make your decision and ask for this trade. It took KG himself to come out on his own podcast and say, "Hey, bro, I waited too long." People try to tell me the same thing. You need to get up out of there because, well, I would be blunt and people gonna hate me for it. But Portland and people in Portland and the organization itself, from the front office to the owner, are just very delusional when it comes to this situation because they don't realize y'all will never be a destination spot for free agency. So nobody wants to go there.
Yeah.
And with teams like that, it's about building through the draft, which you did. You got Dame through the draft, but you didn't build around him correctly.
It's true.
Well, you did the best you could. I won't say you did. It's just very hard when it comes to teams that's a low market. It's hard to make a team because you pretty much got to build through the draft. You got to do everything perfect. You got to get your superstar, but the thing is, which is another topic, your superstar happened to be a point guard. And it's very tough for a guard of his stature, point guard, to lead a team all the way to the finals because it just don't happen.
It's true. It's true. You brought up a couple things. He stayed too long. I think loyalty can hurt you in business. And it's weird because if you leave too early, you're wishy-washy, you're not stable. you're a mercenary. They can't trust you. If you stay too late, you're no longer good. I was looking up just a couple minutes ago Dame's age. Dame is 32. Which means he's a vet. He's had injury. He's in his 30s. You don't have 10 years with Dame. You have a max of 5. And because he's short, I don't mean like he's short. He's not tall for NBA.
Yeah, 6'3".
He's listed as 6 feet, but he might be 5'10".
Right. I give him 6 foot. I give him like 6'1".
With shoes or without?
I think he was listed 6'3" with shoes, so he probably like 6'1".
Okay. So let's say he's 6'1". 6
foot even. How about that?
Okay, 6 foot even. Right. 6 feet even without shoes. With shoes, he's like 6'2", right? 6'2.5", 6'3". Still not tall. So you give your defensive liability, and then you're in a league where defense isn't rewarded. Anyway, your runway is 5 years max before you're coming off the bench. Right? And that's max. Arguably, it's probably more like 2 years.
I ain't gonna do him like that. I mean,
and I like Dame.
Yeah, I think because of Dame's style, he can honestly play in his 40s because he's not really using any of his athleticism. It's just really just shooting. So, like, he can play into his 40s, but the way you're killing yourself on Portland, like, injury is bound to happen because you're overexerting yourself. You're not, especially now, you really don't have any good veteran help. I don't care what y'all say. Jeremy Grant is not like that. I don't care what nobody say. I will not give that man $160 million. And I honestly feel like that was the one that broke the camel back for this trade to go happen. But yeah, I think it, like you said, it definitely can hurt you because even though like I go back and look at the LeBron situation. When I was younger, I didn't know no better. I hated him for it. But looking back on it, I was like, bro, he asked Cleveland more than once, give me some help. More than once, give me some help. I'm gonna ask you one more time, give me some help. And after 8 years, he said, okay, you're not listening. I'm entering my physical prime. I'm going to take my career in my own hands. And as soon as he did that, a year later or two, a ring.
Yeah.
You sat there and I trust me, Dame. I love players that's not willing to leave that quick. I love loyal players. But at this point, you thought you was Kobe. You thought you was Dirk. You thought you was Tim Duncan. You thought you was getting that statue. It ain't happening.
Jeez. I love Dame. I love Dame as a player. I have his shoes. Like I said, when we hooked up on Saturday, I said, look, I rock with Dame. I don't think Portland is, not just because it's not a destination city, because who wants to come to Chicago, right? It's a bigger city, it's a bigger market, but the weather here is trash. It's cold more often than not. This is not the 90s.
Right.
Chicago isn't a destination place either. So I'm going to
give Portland.
It's better than Portland, but I'm going to give Portland a little respect there, a little flat, right? So, but here's my push. You can say I'm not clout chasing, I'm not ring chasing. But if the organization has not given you the pieces to actually build, and you have taken the max contract, and I get it, I would secure future generations too. They also don't have the salary cap to really make moves for these individuals. Why not place yourself in the best winning percentage, considering that most of your money is going to be made off the court anyway?
Right.
Why not the Lakers? And I get it. You would be under LeBron's shadow. Get over it. If you go to LA, they give up because they now have depth. They give up Gabe Vincent. Gabe got to go. They got to get rid of, I can already see. It'll be Gabe. Dennis got signed. He's in Toronto right now. They'll give up D'Angelo Russell. They'll probably give up a wing defender. They'll keep Rui, but they'll give up on that team Vanderbilt. Yeah, they'll give up Bando, and then they'll give up a fourth for Dame. It'll be you, AR, LeBron, AD, and whoever else they want to throw at the 5. You can't tell me you don't get rings with an S. You know what I'm saying? Like, it places you in another stratosphere. You get the exposure being in LA. You get the media hype. All your games are covered. Any type of product you want to promote, you have instantaneous coverage. Your box office, the load is lighter because you're playing with LeBron. And even at age 38, going on 39, LeBron will still be the key target of anybody's defensive plan. You have AD, even though AD's health is, shaky, but,
that's an understatement, but
right. But you're still going to be the man. And then even if the ship goes down, what I mean by that, let's say AD and LeBron get injured, it falls on you anyway, and you're in the purple and gold. Why not the Lakers?
I mean, that's not my destination for him, because to me, I don't think it's as easy to play with LeBron as people make it think, especially now, because to be honest, he's not the playmaker he once was.
Well,
I just think he's more offensive driven now, because it's like he really not playing defense like that. So it's like I feel like that load will be on Dame for the most part of the time, because at this point LeBron just sitting there like, all right, I'm ready for you when you pass me this ball, and once I pass this ball, I'm doing what I want. But and especially once they make it to the playoff, it's really gonna be Dame time, because his game is fit for the playoff. For the playoffs. So it's definitely not a bad decision, because like you said, if you think of it for him personally, marketing wise, it would be amazing. But me personally, I want you to go to the East Coast. I'm sick and tired of staying up 9:30 to 12 o'clock to watch you play. Go somewhere to the East, please. So
Baltimore.
So I don't care. Just go somewhere. I can't take you staying. I want to see you in the East. I just need to see him in the East. But
Chicago Bulls.
We can't afford them. But
get rid of Zoe.
Bro, we literally just got the and it wasn't even the one I wanted, because we could have did the end career one.
Yeah,
and we would have got most of the money, but we just got the player injury. I forget what it's called, but we only got like 10 mil back. So hey, he ain't come to Chicago.
Jeez, it is what it is. Dame, go where you're happy, goes where you're respected. I do want to see you in the East as well, but I personally want to see you with Team LeBron, so we can get 5 and 6. And
I don't know why you want to go LeBron for to go play with his son.
Hey, he gets 5, 6 in LA. He'll do 7. I mean, yes, he wants to play with Bronny, but and there's no but. 5, 6. He's got 2 years left on the contract. And
a player option.
And a player option. Come to LA, do 2 years, sign a 3-year deal, 2+1, player option in the 3rd.
Ain't bad. That's not a bad contract at all.
Not a bad contract, and then you'll have the rings, you'll have the cachet. It'll be your NBA. Let's jump to the next segment. Chet or Wemby? Look, with rookie of the year, Chet was all out. He got injured last year in the summer league pickle game playing against LeBron. That was not a smart move. But Chet is back. He's healthy. Chet can ball. Chet is super skilled. They're both 7-footers. Obviously, Wemby's a lot longer. Wemby is 7'3.5", flat-footed, no shoes, no socks. So when he laces up, they say Wemby's like 7'6", 7'5". Yeah, 7'5", 7'6", 8-foot wingspan. But honestly, looking at them, Wemby just looks bigger. Like, I don't know why his height looks more height-ish. Is this a problem? Because we looked at Yao Ming, we look at Sean Bradley, we look at players who have been, exponentially taller. They don't last long. What's going on here?
They only don't last long when you hurt them legs. Anything lower body, you got to stay away from. So as far as we know, Wemby hasn't had any injuries when it comes to that. But Chet didn't hurt. And then what Chet hurt was actually one of those rare injuries. It was like a piece on the top of his foot. So
yeah,
you gotta, as a big man, you gotta stay away from foot injuries and knees and back. Those are the career killers. So forever, as they're playing basketball, we're always going to be worried about that longevity and health issue because just players like that, that's what they deal with. One wrong injury to their foot, and it's just hard to recover because as humans, super tall is considered 6'6". So anything past that is like your body, like, I don't even understand what's going on here. like it's just not, your body sometimes just don't recover right because it's like, bro, you're not even supposed to be this tall.
True. What about the cultural impact? I think, Wemby puts on the Spurs jersey. Wemby represents France. He's Parisian. Obviously they're not waiting for ESPN. They're subscribed to NBA League Pass. There's more revenue potential with Wemby. Who has the biggest impact culturally, Wemby or?
Oh, Wemby, of course. He got a whole country behind him. He has a whole country behind him. We all know France, and especially in the San Antonio area, they had a Frenchman, which is Tony Parker. Wemby has grown up as being under the tutelage of Tony Parker. Sure. So he's been a Spurs fan for the longest, and we all know as a Spurs, when it comes to player development or culture, their culture as a whole, from top to bottom, they're just world class, A1. And one thing we know about, even though, which is really pretty remarkable about Wemby, just listen to his interviews before draft. I was like, he's probably the most mature rookie I've seen in a long time, by far, in this draft.
Yeah.
So he's going to become a real professional quickly, because that's one thing San Antonio does. They turn you into professional quick, and he's already halfway there. So one thing, I don't have to worry about him as his personal life. It's not going to be nothing worried about. But Chet ain't nobody to sneeze at either, because, like, hey, we've been watching Chet since he was about 17 years old, crossing up, dunking on Steph Curry. Like,
that's true.
Like, they both have similar similar styles in play, because one thing I think, like all of us do, we give so much credit to the offensive game, but the number one thing they're going to be good at off rip is defense. Because that's the one thing I already watched the Chet game, summer league game, got like 3 blocks. And we already know Wemby averaged about 3 to 4 blocks in France. So they're gonna be great defenders off rip. So don't be surprised to hear them as rookies in the defensive player conversation of the year, because they're definitely that good when it comes to defense.
Is this the end of the American athlete? And what I mean by that, like, you think of the Wembys of the world, the Nicolas of the world, the Lucas, the Giannis's of the world. Chet's not projected. I mean, Chet can hoop, but Chet's not. He's not at least projected to transform the NBA.
Yeah. I won't say it's the end, because we always, in America, we're always going to have an advantage to a degree, just like they have an advantage to a degree. Like us, we in America, we're naturally more athletic than the people over there.
You think so?
No, that's a fact. We're naturally more athletic than them. We're around more talent, so we're playing against the best of the best. But their advantage over there is once they come over here, they feel like the NBA is easier because they're way more smarter. They understand the team game to the T. They're fundamentally sound. And they've been playing against people stronger than them since they was probably 14 years old. So it's like they both have their advantages that I don't feel like one would just completely overlap the other, because there's still dudes coming out of the NBA that they're still, like, Zion is still considered a generational talent, and he's from America.
Yes.
So, like, yeah, but don't get it. Like, the wave of the international game is crazy, and they're coming. Africa's coming.
Yeah.
We found somebody in Greece. So who knows? Like, we got people from Montenegro coming. So, like, hey, America, don't think y'all just because we playing some of the best people don't mean it's not people from other countries that's just as good.
That's true. Speaking of the American athletes, let's go to Scoot versus Brandon. Obviously, Brandon made headlines. Splash with his Paul George the GOAT comment, which is and I love Paul George. Paul George would say
Me too.
Right? Like I love PG. PG's game is phenomenal. I mean, perfect NBA body, perfect, smooth, but GOAT, like doesn't
everything, the whole package.
Right? Brandon got off in his first summer league game, and if there's everybody's talking about Scoot. Scoot is what, flat foot 6'2".
Yeah,
super athletic. Reminds you of a lot of Russell Westbrook. Bit. I don't want to say more athletic, but a better physique, right, than Russell.
Yeah, he got Russ' body now at 19.
At 19, right? He has Russ's body. So, but Brandon Miller has a more complete game. Let's watch this highlight. Let's break down Brandon.
He keeps growing. The development in that league, the talent in that league, and you're just seeing it from these undrafted guys.
Oh, Lacey one.
Well, if I close my eyes, I think that's Paul George.
San Antonio up by 24 at Miller. Miller gets his first bucket.
Smooth.
Champagny pulls one. Mediaco, no. Champagny rejected. Miller with the defense. All San Antonio here. That's the boy looking for the dive. Miller with the steal. Really brings it down and counted. Challenged that last shot attempt. Here he is. Nice little 5, corner 3. Got it. Robinson. Remember, no Victor Wembanyama. Scheduled to make his Summer League debut Friday in Vegas. Short. May have got hit on the wrist. Instead, we play on as Book Knight thought about a 3. Miller catch and shoot. Line drive. Got it. 89-62 lead. Champagny 27. Barlow 29. But Miller starting to heat up this upcoming season. They're playing for their NBA lives. Miller laces one. That is what he can do. Miller, goes out. A little circus.
Oh, you love
That
it.
was crazy.
Almost a third one with the
He traveled, but that was crazy.
He definitely traveled.
Right. He hit the ground. Look, he's on the ground.
He definitely bro, I feel like nobody calls that now because a lot of people just be landing, and I'm like,
Right.
you see his feet, but okay.
Bro, Brandon is cold. Nope. And you can't, because Brandon is young. He doesn't have an NBA body yet. He's still very.
For somebody straight out of college, it's not terrible.
It's not
6'9", 200. That's not nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's nothing to sneeze at. He'll probably grow a couple inches. He'll probably be a real 6'8", 6'9", flat-footed. He's long. He's definitely Paul George-ish. If he adds any muscle, it'll only help him. Who has a better career? And I know that's far reaching. Let's reduce it. Who has a better rookie season? Right now, I have Scoot because I expect Dame to leave and all eyes will be on Scoot. But I think Brandon will have the better career because Scoot is going to get trapped in the same kind of ecosystem Dame was with no help. So who has the better rookie season? Who has the better career?
I don't know, bro. Like it's not. When it comes to them, like I feel like when it comes to how good they are, it's not too far off. Like I can't really put one above each other because, like, just Scoot is just a freak when it comes to his style of play. So like he won't be like it's just certain things he's going to be able to do, and you're going to be like, how you doing that? And there's no explaining it. Now. Me personally, I think it's going to be Brandon. I mean, not Brandon. What's his dude? I just drew a blank. We just watched Brandon. Oh yeah, Brandon Miller. I think it's going to be Brandon Miller because like he just got the whole package. He's going into a situation where he ain't going to have to facilitate like he did in Alabama. So you got Melo there to facilitate. So he's going to be there. Might be primary scorer for the most point. If he gets to that level of trust of the coach there. So I feel like it can be that because I don't know how Portland's gonna shake out because Dame could probably be here to the trade deadline. It's definitely possible, and it's a lot of like you still got Anthony Simons there, you still got Shaden Sharp, so it's like he's not going into a separation that just like here you got the keys to the Ferrari. You don't. It's not like that. So, me personally, I think Brandon could possibly. Until I see otherwise, because we still haven't seen a game from school yet. So, I'm gonna say Brandon. I'm gonna say Brandon Miller's gonna have the better rookie year.
I think School's gonna have the better rookie year, only because when the trade goes down, they're gonna get a lot of pieces and they're gonna look for a face.
You think they're gonna get a lot of pieces? Well, it depends on where they go.
It depends on where he goes, right? They're gonna get a lot, even if it's a lot of future pieces. They're looking for a face. You got to have a marketing face. Brandon has the charisma, the face. He is athlete, like he has the vibrato of I'm an athlete, right? I like Scoot because of that. Scoot is dynamic. He is definitely 2010 Russell Westbrook.
He's definitely ESPN.
Sports Center top 10, and it's gonna be like that. Brandon Miller is one of those rookies that if you're rebuilding, you might want to look for a trade. Just like this. If you have, and this is gonna sound wild, the Bulls, right? If you had to give up Patrick, what's the name?
P. Will.
Yeah. Brandon Miller is your replacement. If you go to New York and you need a real three,
trade him for RJ. Yeah,
trade him for RJ. Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller is a tradable piece right now. I mean, almost in any situation, Brandon Miller. Matter of fact, if I'm Steve Ballmer and I'm looking at the Clippers and I'm like, well, Kawhi's always injured. You know, Paul George gave me something. I can't depend on Kawhi.
Now that's not a bad idea because when it comes to Clippers, I'm about done with Kawhi.
Right,
but that's another topic.
Right, be done with Kawhi. You trade him for Brandon Miller. Charlotte gets a face because they're selling the organization anyway. Right, you get a face. You wrap around Kawhi, LaMelo, Kawhi. You know, obviously you're not going to win a championship. Well, I can't say that because if Kawhi come back healthy, you know, but you know, but Brandon in LA. Brandon's motive for that. He'll be with his idol, Paul George. It's almost like Brandon Miller is NBA ready for a title run. Not necessarily be a star, but what Brandon can do is Brandon can give you 16 points every game, right? That's who Brandon Miller is. And that's kind of where I had Brandon in my
Because I definitely got some reserves about Brandon because one thing I did, that was one of my number one worries about him is at Alabama, when they went up against quality players and quality teams, he didn't look like Brandon Miller, but also I've also seen with the situation he went through in the midst of it, completely lose his mind in the middle of a tournament game. So it shows that he definitely has he's built for the bright moments. But I mean, it's just the best of both worlds with him. So both of them gonna be trial and error. But those two, it's gonna be fighting. It's gonna be probably for the rest of their career. It's gonna be neck and neck. I can see it like that. Like they can honestly be like how John Zion was.
That's true. Or I was thinking T-Mac versus Vince. Quick word from our sponsors. We'll be back. Hey, what's up? It's CVMK 33. Look, I want you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, subscribe here, everywhere, so you can get the latest and greatest of this podcast content. Stay tuned. Subscribe, YouTube, CVMK, Instagram. It is what it is _show, CVMK _global, CVMK 33, www.cvmkglobal.store, where the best supplements are. So look, we talked about, the kind of re-landscaping, the reshaping. I'm going to throw it to you. I want to get your thoughts on it, just quick rundown, and then we'll close with our final thoughts after break. So D-Rose to Memphis. What in 15 seconds, what does this mean?
Mentorship and professionalism.
ESPN downsizing. What does this mean?
TV dying.
Woo. Dame getting traded. What does this mean?
About time, but you took too long. You possibly took too long.
Wemby versus Chet. What does this mean?
The future.
Scoop versus Brandon. What does this mean?
Hey, primetime television.
Primetime television. I'm gonna close my final thoughts after this.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
www.cvmkglobal.store. Get your pre-workouts, your proteins, creatines, all there, all in the product section. It could be at your doorstep tomorrow. www.cvmkglobal.store. I agree. D-Rose mentorship, ESPN downsizing, TV is dying. Dame, it's about time, but waited too late. Wemby versus Chet, the future. Scoot versus Brandon, must-see TV. Here's my final take on all of it. Every generation has a pivoting point, and all the heroes of 20 years ago are no longer in the league. The only name that is still present is LeBron. Every fan and athlete has to come to a point that it's over. That phase of life is over. I think we have shifted into this new phase. Younger athletes, more skilled athletes, different league, different almost sport. And what it's showing is you have to be outstanding in a plethora of areas. You either have to be 8 feet tall and can shoot step back threes on one leg like Wemby. You have to, have on-air talent that people want to watch, not just there because they majored in journalism. You have to have a draw.
Ooh, you said something right there.
And Derrick Rose will forever be a legend, no matter where he goes.
And I'm gonna say this, and y'all can argue whoever you want. If T-Mac made it to the Hall of Fame, Derrick Rose can too.
I agree with you because that T-Mac selection, I was like, well, T-Mac can make it. Derrick Rose should be in.
About to say, I ain't never seen somebody didn't make it to the third round, make it to the Hall of Fame. But congratulations.
Hey. That's why we need Derrick Rose to do what he does in Memphis. I'm rooting for D Rose. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say, if Memphis does not make it to the finals, they will only be dethroned by LeBron. I think Ja and Derrick can beat every team but LA, and only because of LeBron. Only because, for whatever reason, LeBron has figured Derrick out. I even think they can take down Denver. And I'm going to say this, and this is unpopular. Denver's days are numbered. Coach Malone and them celebrated a little bit too soon. A healthy LeBron with another dynamic. This is why Dame needs to come to LA. It's going to be a wrap.
You better hope, because if you're gonna still think it's gonna be the LeBron and AD show without JaVale and Dwight, y'all not getting another ring.
No, I know. They should have kept Dwight. He in Taiwan right now. No,
y'all should have kept everybody.
No, I know. Stevo, where can they connect with you, man? Where's your podcast? Where can the people follow you?
Hey man, y'all can follow me at Stevo Speaks on everything. My channels are I'm on NBA Central, Sky Central. I'm sometimes on Bear Central, but majority of my stuff I'll be on NBA Central. It's an emblem, it's black and orange. It's two of us out there, so us blue and white one, but it's black and orange. NBA Central. Follow all the Central platforms. We building a network over there. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all tune in.
Y'all follow him on NBA Central. Stevo Speaks. Connect with your man on all things. And if you want to keep seeing amazing people like Steve, You know what you got to do. YouTube CVMK is on every single place where, from Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, however you listen to podcasts, just put it is what it is. CVMK. I'm going to pop up. My bald head is going to pop up. And you need to click the like button and the notification button and make sure this algorithm is working for the brother, so we don't be like ESPN over here. Instagram, CVMK_global. It is what it is _show. CVMK33. And until next time, guys. Thanks.